Pete Buttigieg got personal at a town hall here on campus after a heated debate last night. I'm Chace Beech.
Shopper, we'll have the interesting story behind this former cafe coming up.
I'm Keith Leach. See It Live starts now.
I think Americans right now could benefit from a president that you could watch on television and maybe feel your blood pressure go down a little bit instead of up to the roof.
USC's BOVARD Auditorium was filled today with locals excited to see presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg.
Buttigieg talked about everything from his personal life to his time in the military. Over 1,200 people showed up at USC's BOVARD Auditorium today to see presidential candidate and former mayor of South Bend, Indiana, Pete Buttigieg speak. Some are strong supporters.
He's my man, and he's the one that can win the presidency. I'm very excited about the campaign, and I'm exuberantly happy to be here and actually see him in person.
While others are waiting to make their decision.
I'm still kind of undecided as to which candidate to support, but I think regardless, I think it's important that I'm educated and aware of everybody's perspective.
Moderator Alex Michelson of Fox 11 News started off the conversation asking about last night's heated presidential debate.
We've seen boxing matches in Las Vegas before, but I think there were more punches thrown last night than in a Floyd Mayweather fight,
The reality is we who are on that stage share a lot of broad values, and I think we're all working in the knowledge that when the one person who gets nominated is securing the nomination, all of the 20 or 25 people who ran for president, need to rally around that person right away.
Several Pete supporters in the audience found his moderate stance refreshing.
I feel like in this election cycle with a very polarized government, it's important to have somebody that represents views more in the middle.
I am a pretty moderate person. I vote more on the candidate than the party. And so I was having a lot of trouble figuring out what policies are most important to me, like who I should vote for. And I watched his video and I can't even describe it. It was one of those things that just takes you beyond politics. I actually felt like I mattered, like I would belong in his America and that he had a place for everyone.
It's not just his moderate politics that supporters like. It's also his calm demeanor.
When do you get angry? What gets you really frustrated? What fires you up?
An important discipline in my life is to try to not be overly animated about the things that piss me off. But that's precisely because there are so many. Look, I think Americans right now could benefit from a president that you could watch on television and maybe feel your blood pressure go down a little bit instead of up to the roof.
Pete is one of the few people running who has served in the military.
I trust him as a commander-in-chief because he's worn the uniform and he's been there and he understands.
Ultimately, Buttigieg's message is one of urgency for his own campaign and for the country.
If we got this right, as bleak a moment as we're living in now, I think we could look back on 2020 with great pride in how we came together to change the trajectory of this country. And time is running out. We've got to do it now. That's why I'm asking for your help.
Mayor Pete Buttigieg, thank you very much.
If you want to catch the entire town hall, you can watch it tonight on Fox 11 News. We also want to add that on See It Live, we are committed to full transparency, which is why we are disclosing that our EP works for the Trojans for Pete campaign, an on-campus organization tied to Pete Buttigieg's campaign.
Pete Buttigieg is the first openly gay presidential candidate. Annenberg Media's Vanessa Gay talked with people at the town hall about what this means for the LGBTQ community.
At today's town hall, presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg said things were a lot different when he was a student.
When I was in college and really attracted to the idea of public service, I had the strong sense that you could either be in public service, be in elected office in a place like Indiana anyway, or you could be gay, but not both. And to see somebody able to do that, I think it would have changed my entire understanding of where I fit in the world.
People in the audience seem to be inspired by the South Bend mayor.
In the political climate that we're on right now, it's all about straight, white, men in power, And I think that this man is giving us, the LGBTQ plus community, a voice and inspiring us to also spark change.
After listening to him in person and what I've seen him to be able to wittily just come from the heart, when somebody doesn't have to think second-handedly, I'm proud to be gay. I'm proud to think that we at least are part of a first.
He happens to be gay, and there's so much more to him than just that, which I think is what we need to do to normalize this, of having diversity in politics, is just be who you are and believe in what you believe in without having to like use that in a way to like, I don't know, maybe like manipulate the vote a little bit. Just that's who you happen to be, and you believe in so much more.
Buttigieg addressed questions about his faith and sexuality, saying he has his own understanding of religion and respects those who do not agree with him. For Annenberg Media, I'm Vanessa Gay.
According to an Associated Press survey, Buttigieg still falls short of the LGBT vote with just 16%, compared to Sanders, who has just 44%, and Warren, who had 20%. Bernie Sanders campaign members and supporters have set up shop at a Los Angeles cultural landmark. Annenberg Media's Brogan Kroener is there live with the story behind the coffee shop. Brogan,
thanks, guys. I'm outside of Bernie's coffee shop, formerly known as the iconic Johnny's Coffee Shop, where lattes are no longer being served, but instead, Bernie Sanders' presidential candidates and campaign members have been running his campaign right here through these doors. Now, the diner closed their doors back in 2000 as an actual coffee shop, but reopened in 2016 as a campaign ground for Bernie Sanders. Although there's only one person currently inside, last night this place was packed with supporters who came out to watch the Democratic debate. We spoke with the co-founder of the coffee shop as well as one of the volunteers who said some important things about the campaign and about the candidate.
The issues have always been at the front for Bernie Sanders. So when we work in that vein and we work with his inspiration, we remember to keep the issues at the front. And that's what we do with this space. So even after this primary election is over, we're going to continue to utilize this space for different groups and different people that just want to show up and help out, help humanity.
And with Bernie, he gives us hope. And he wants us to be better people. Like this, it's not me, it's us. And it always has been that way with him. He gets involved with like Black Lives Matter, the indigenous people, the immigrants. He gets involved in all the things that we all have been championing for.
Although the coffee shop is meant for the Bernie campaign right now, they say that they will continue to keep the doors open even after the election for any progressive groups that want to use the space. Reporting live from the corner of Fairfax and Wilshire for Annenberg Media, I'm Brogan Kroener.
Thanks so much, Brogan. Bernie Sanders stood alone during last night's debate when the conversation turned to delegates. We asked the director of USC's Center for the Political Future to weigh in.
That's exactly the opposite, ironically, of the position he took in 2016 when he said the superdelegates should take the nomination away from Hillary Clinton. Senator Sanders thinks he's leading after the collapse in the debate of Michael Bloomberg. He thinks he's even more likely to end up with a plurality of delegates. So he's saying what's in his own self-interest. The other candidate.
A live count of the delegate declarations shows Buttigieg and Sanders in a strong lead with just over 20 votes, while the rest of the candidates fall behind. Over 1,300 delegates are up for grabs across the country during Super Tuesday on March 3rd. The importance of delegate votes could weigh heavily with the potential for a contested convention on the horizon. Less than 2 weeks before Super Tuesday, former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg has opened up a new campaign headquarters in downtown Los Angeles. We stopped by the office to speak to someone about Bloomberg's performance in last night's debate and the outlook of his campaign, but his team refused to comment.
The Nevada caucuses happened this Saturday. Annenberg Media's Sarah Martin is live in Las Vegas at the Amnesty International Forum. Sarah?
Hi, this is Sarah Martin. I'm reporting live from the Presidential Forum on Asylum and Immigration here at the College of Southern Nevada. Presidential candidate Tom Steyer will be in attendance, voicing his opinions on both immigration and asylum policies. Representatives from each Democratic presidential campaign will also be present, besides Pete Buttigieg. This takes place just a few days before the very crucial First in the West caucus here in Nevada. I'm here standing in the student union where I talked to some students who voiced their beliefs on the presidential election, the race, their views on immigration, and what they want to hear coming from the forum.
Very concerned on a humanitarian level with what's happening at the border specifically, and also in the courts. People are just getting jammed up, pledged for money for years and years, and then either thrown out and thrown in jail for the rest of it. It's gross. I don't like it.
I'm Kevin McNamara. Earlier today, we paid a visit to the Culinary Workers Union, a majority immigrant group that's one of the largest unions in the state. One union member we spoke to was skeptical that any of the participants in Wednesday night's debate had their best interests in mind. The union has notably declined to endorse any of the Democratic candidates for president.
Some of the candidates are using, like I said, I feel, the Dreamers and the Latino community as pawns. Some of them have had opportunities to help the community, and they voted no for a bill. And then you realize, like, now you did that in the past, and now you are using us to get you through, you know, and I feel that's not right.
Stay tuned to Annenberg Media all weekend, as we'll be here in Vegas ahead of the caucus on Saturday. That will include an appearance from President Trump himself tomorrow, as well as campaign stops by Senator Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Now back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks so much, Kevin. A presidential candidate's standing can change drastically in one night. We asked Brogan to show us how candidates are looking by the numbers.
I hope you heard what his defense was. I've been nice to some women.
The Democratic candidates may have duked it out on the debate stage last night, but how are they faring in the polls? We got that covered and more in this ballot breakdown.
We have a grotesque and immoral distribution of wealth and income.
Senator Bernie Sanders leads February national polls, averaging about 30% support amongst Democratic primary voters. His campaign also raised $2.7 million since last night's debate.
I've been very lucky, made a lot of money, and I'm giving it all away.
Coming in second, New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg averages close to 16% in polls this month, while Vice President Joe Biden falls not far behind, averaging about 15%.
We need to get everybody's health care plan out here.
Senator Elizabeth Warren averages close to 13% in February polls. After having the most airtime of any candidate last night, speaking for about 16 minutes and 35 seconds, her team is reporting that it's since received more than $2.8 million in donations.
It's true that I was into Bernie before it was cool.
Mayor Pete Buttigieg and Senator Amy Klobuchar bring up the rear in the polls amongst the candidates who participated in the Las Vegas debate. Despite going head-to-head last night, Buttigieg has Klobuchar beat, averaging close to 10% support amongst Democratic primary voters.
And I said that I made an error.
While Klobuchar comes in at the bottom, averaging 8%. And that's been your ballot breakdown. Look for the next Democratic debate airing this upcoming Tuesday, February 25th on CBS.
There's still a lot of traffic on Twitter about last night's debate. Annenberg professor of social media and guru Matthew LeVeque takes a closer look at what people are talking about.
We look at the February 7th debate. We see the top mentions there are Donald Trump, Pete Buttigieg, Andrew Yang, Bernie Sanders, Joe Biden, and Elizabeth Warren. If we come to yesterday's debate, we see it's completely different. Elizabeth Warren was the largest number of mentions. On February 7th, it was about 700,000 tweets on it versus 1.5 million tweets for the debate that took place yesterday. We're doing this on a per capita within the United States, so it's per 1 million people on it. And what we see here is that the District of Columbia that you'd expect, then it's Vermont, New York, Nevada, New Hampshire, Oregon, Massachusetts, and then California.
The California primary will be the first major election that LA County uses a new voting system. Reporter Becky Sweeney talked to a woman who's educating voters about the changes before they cast their ballots.
Did people get this thing, state of California? Okay.
This retired teacher is trying to teach voters everything they need to know before heading out to the polls.
It's rewarding to me. I mean, I love this kind of audience. We're deeply engaged and lots of questions and lots of comments. That's my ideal teaching.
Mona Field is a political scientist and has been traveling all around to different neighborhoods presenting the information.
People no longer go to their local polling places, but instead to voting centers located at public libraries, schools, and churches. And since there are fewer places for people to go, they will be open for 11 days. And inside them, people will be using tablets instead of the traditional paper ballots.
Some voters feel overwhelmed with all the changes, taking pages of notes. One in particular will miss seeing people at her local polling place.
You know, we're still talking about the issues. Everybody has their opinions, getting more information you haven't thought about.
But some people who used to work at those polling places feel hopeful that these changes will help make things run smoother.
We would have quite a few provisional ballots, and those people, that took a lot to do, a lot to explain.
Very complicated process.
Yeah.
I'm just doing what little I can do as an individual to help people know what is changing.
All before the California primary on March 3rd.
Oh my goodness.
For Annenberg Media, I'm Becky Sweeney.
Voting centers will open this Saturday through Super Tuesday on March 3rd. For more information on where to vote, go to lavote.net.
Another big story we're following tonight, free tuition for some of USC students will begin next fall. President Folt announced that students with family incomes of $80,000 or less will qualify for the benefit.
We're committed to making sure that the students that are able to attend here can do it independent of their background or ability to pay. So we're starting here to continue to increase our ability to make it affordable. I think it's going to have a huge impact for the students that are included. We think 1 in 3 entering students will actually be a part of this. More than 4,000 students, when it's fully implemented, will see close to $45,000 more of aid in the course of their attendance at USC.
Owning a home will also not affect a student's financial need. These new policies will provide more than 4,000 undergraduate students up to $45,000, benefiting 1 in 3 incoming first-year students. Students on campus have mixed reactions to the plan.
I was actually really shocked. It wasn't something I was expecting. I think it's really great, though. I think it's going to give a lot more people an opportunity to go to such an amazing school like USC.
I think it's nice for people who don't have necessarily the funds to get here, but it seems a bit unfair to people. I don't have those funds, and that wasn't offered to me.
It's nice to know that people who are less fortunate or have less of a steady or ample income are able to go to a school like this.
2/3 of USC undergraduates receive some kind of financial aid, and more than 20% come from low-income families. USC says it will continue to increase aid by more than $30 million every year. Thanks for watching See It Live. From everyone here at Annenberg Media, I'm Chace Beech.
And I'm Keith Leach. You can watch us on the web at uscannenbergmedia.com. Good night.